All right, practical tactical finale, and we're also going to couple in just saying no in the coolest way possible in this video. And if you're like me and you want to make a change in your life but not be a self-righteous prick to the people around you, then cool, you're in the right place. But first, let's talk about my favorite Eagle, Joe Walsh. I'm on a stage here because I want to talk about a rock star, so everybody always asks you who your favorite Beatle is, but we don't talk about our favorite Eagle. This is America. My favorite Beatle is George, by the way, and Joe Walsh is my favorite Eagle. So Joe was wilder than shit back in the day, and that lyric about hotel rooms tearing out the walls and just having accountants pay for it all is actually true. And he finally let go of drugs and booze when the Eagles reunited for the When Hell Freezes Over tour in 1994. The band insisted that he clean up before heading out on the road together, and you might think that he did it all for the money, but that wasn't it at all. He still had plenty of money, but coincidentally, a voice inside him that I've come to call the motherfucker had been whispering to him, "There will never be enough vodka. There will never be enough coke." So look, I don't care what it is, man. It's a bottomless pit. It's a fool's errand. Whatever the fuck it is that your brain is tricking you into thinking you have to have, you'll never have enough. Our brains are wonderful servants, but terrible masters. Joe Walsh's epiphany that I was lucky enough to catch him sharing on YouTube somewhere, it resonated with me, and it's my sincere hope that it will really hit home with you. And I just love Joe and his music, and he continuously gives back to veterans and the folks in the recovery community. He's a walking, talking, guitar slinging inspiration to all of us that the power is inside of us. This isn't just cliche, cheesy bullshit. We just don't need that shit in order for us to do our things, man. He was actually convinced for years that he couldn't play guitar without his various substances. Vodka can't play a fucking guitar. Cocaine can't write your books or paint your pictures. This has and will unfortunately be a problem with musicians and artists, that they think they need to be in a mood in order to create, and that booze and drugs are the magic things that get them there.
And very slowly, alcohol and drugs will convince you that you can't do anything without it. And that's what had happened to me. I could still function, but I knew I was in trouble. And alcohol and drugs were eating a hole where my heart was, and where my family was, and where love was, and caring about anything was. I want to leave a message for people who might have a problem themselves, that there is life after that, and it's good, and you can get there. And here's what you have to do. You have to ask for help, that there is hope. It can be done. And life is so good afterwards, once you get yourself back.
Content creation is content creation, whether it's a blog, a book, a poem, a picture, or a song. And the way one becomes prolific in any form of content creation is by doing the thing consistently every day like a job. How would you do at your job if you showed up drunk and high every day, right? And a lot of us, we're creative, and I thought that this really might wake you up to the fact that your music, your art, your writing, it comes from you and through you. Through you. We need to make sure that our antennas can receive signal, and I'm talking about frequency here. Always keep frequency in mind. Even Keith Richards talked about his antenna receiving signal, that his songs came from somewhere else. Just make a commitment to creating. Show up consistently, and the rest will take care of itself. Did you know that Dolly Parton has written over 5,000 songs? She's recorded and released around 25% of those 5,000, but a fraction of that number were hits. A fraction of thousands is a lot, and she accomplished this by being prolific. Being prolific is doing the correct action consistently every day, whether you're inspired to or not. Just more evidence on why we act our way into positive thinking every day. The decisions have already been made. We do these things in the morning. Every day we wake up, read and reflect. Meditation, now the workout. Oh, what day is it? It's Wednesday. That's chest, shoulders, triceps. Even that decision's been made in advance. There's no dicking around. It's kind of like if your mom laid out your clothes for you when you were a kid before school. It's the best default mode we can possibly begin with until our frequencies are elevated enough, and then it's like we've earned the right to step in and take over the decisions that come at us throughout the rest of the day. It's a weird lens to look at things, I know, but I'm not wrong. If it's 9 a.m. and the world's typical problems have found you and start to tug and pull at you, would you be more capable of handling that shit when you've already positioned yourself in a frequency that's above neutral in an expansion zone, or below neutral in a contraction zone where the options seem less available to you? All right, so check this out. One day, my wife's 90-year-old granny who was 94-year-old Pa's primary caregiver before he passed away. She says to us, "Pa's quit drinking, but he doesn't know it yet. Before Pa passed away, he had dementia, and his after-dinner beers weren't doing him or Granny any favors. So whenever Pa had a beer, Granny served it to him in a koozie. And it would obscure the beer can, and so she just started substituting his Busch Lights with the non-alcoholic versions. And he didn't catch on for months, and by then, he didn't even care anymore." I'm here to tell you that the placebo effect is alive and well, and I've got great news for you. You don't have to wait for someone to pull the wool over your eyes and switch out your brewskis when self-imposed placebos are just as effective. That's right, people knowingly take placebos all the time for things like pain, depression, anxiety, so we can just do it ourselves. Do not fucking dismiss this. This placebo effect was discovered by accident in a combat situation in World War II. Medics were treating wounded soldiers that had crazy-ass injuries. If you've seen Saving Private Ryan, you know what I'm talking about here. Gunshot wounds, lost limbs, serious shit. So the medics ran out of morphine, and a nurse bullshitted a doctor, and she said, "Yeah, I found a secret stash of morphine. Everything's going to be okay." And so the morphine that relieved all the pain to all those wounded men was actually saline solution, which is pretty much just salt water. Do you get that the brain can numb the pain of gunshot wounds and lost limbs with salt water through sheer belief? Swapping out some beers is a fucking cakewalk here, brother. So here's what you do. If you're a liquor drinker, switch to beer immediately. My friend's dad casually mentioned to me one time that when he stopped drinking vodka, he immediately dropped 20 pounds. Remember, I just wanted to get ripped. I had no inclination to stop drinking. So to me at the time, curbing liquor was just a hack to lose fat. Nevertheless, we're teaching a horse not to eat here. So go ahead and switch to beer as soon as possible. This is integration. So drink beer for a while, and then we're going to start swapping out some of those beers for tasty non-alcoholic versions until eventually you're done drinking regular beer. Simple. I still have non-alcoholic beers in my fridge to this day, and they're delicious. I'm not suffering in the slightest. And when I go to restaurants, non-alcoholic beers and super tasty mocktails are easy to find, and it's just plain fun to try out, and it's kind of a litmus test. If a restaurant is portraying itself as high caliber, then it simply must have non-alcoholic alcohol options. The non-alcoholic alcohol industry is valued in the billions. It's a thing. They've been making non-alcoholic beer for like 100 years now, and that's not an exaggeration. Breweries started producing non-alcoholic beers during Prohibition so they could keep their doors open and buy their time till alcohol would be legal again. So anyway, more tactical integration here. So most of our drinking happens at night, right? So this is where our underrated pillar, sleep well, saves the day. Herbal teas are the shit, particularly in the evening. Geek out, get into these, order variety packs and try them out. Find out what exactly is your cup of tea. Everyone knows that tea is good for you, and especially the teas that are not caffeinated will help you chill out in the evenings. That double scotch is not chilling you out. It's sedating you while it's inflaming you, and it's also keeping you fat with all those extra calories. One double scotch will have over 200 calories, and that's if you don't pour it too heavy or mix it. One of my non-alcoholic beers here has 45 calories, and it's filling and it tastes great. That sounds like an old commercial, I think. But hell, I've still got room for some ice cream if I want to, well, calorically speaking. So if you were in my coaching program, in the evening, an hour or so before bed, did you get to treat yourself to your favorite NA, that's non-alcoholic beer, and or your favorite cup of tea? You see, the way we succeed is that we reward ourselves often. That's 2 beverages you have to drink at least first. If you force down a couple of brews after your NA and a cup of tea, well, okay, I'm not judging. It's a transition we're making, and nobody and no system is perfect, but we're moving a needle here. But drinking all that liquid every evening, that's just not long-term sustainable. Something will have to give, and getting up to pee multiple times in the night will just get old, and like 4 beverages is just a lot of work, don't you think? Pro tip here. Try to drink your last beverage, whether it's a beer or not, an hour or so before going to bed. That'll help with getting up in the middle of the night. Remember, for me, letting go of booze was one of the last things I did on my journey becoming always ripped. So you, my friend, are going to get much faster results than I did because you've decided to take the bull by the horns up front. Me, I was mystified as to why I couldn't get rid of that stubborn belly fat, lower back fat for the longest time. I could do sit-ups till the fucking cows came home, but it was the booze screwing me over the entire time because I was trying to walk 2 paths at the same time. So good for you, man. My friend's dad was more right than he'll ever know about those 20 pounds. Letting go of alcohol was the difference that helped me push the needle from kind of in shape to ripped. Align your actions with the outcome you desire, with that picture on your wall, and having made the decision to get ripped. This will guide so many countless subconscious small decisions that will add up to the huge outcome you desire. Ripped ass motherfuckers just aren't booze hounds. Their reasons might be for vanity, like mine, but in the end, so what? Turns out I was right, for the wrong reason, but so what? Since we're hitting singles every day, see what I did here? We're at a baseball field. We really can't afford to take giant back steps. So in the world in which we live, called reality, every decision can't always be on autopilot, and nobody bats 1,000. See what I did here? All right, you will have to step up when faced with negative desires. Oh, what's that you say? Desire? Is that on our frequency chart? Well, by golly, it sure is. Is that a place we want to be? No, it is not. What are we going to do? We're going to raise our frequency. How are we going to do that? We're going to do some fucking burpees. Hit the floor, motherfucker. Give me 30. Still got that desire to be a drunken ass fool? Give me 20 more. Let's take it to 50. Whatever it takes to elevate out of the desire frequency. You get it? This shit works. You are not too cool for this. We've got the tools. We've got our NAs to curb and transition the alcohol thing. And when shit gets under our skin from people pissing us off and circumstances or negative desires, we've got burpees. These tools and tactics work. Workouts or a run are even better, but you aren't going to be equipped to head to the gym or go for a run and so forth at any given moment. That's reality. However, you could do some burpees in a fucking tuxedo. We keep it simple here. Why? Because we can succeed with simple. If the only tool you have is a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail. That's a famous quote by Abraham Maslow, and it's usually a bad thing, but not in our case. Use burpees as your master key for everything adverse that happens to you. You remember the janitor from high school, that had those, 100 freaking keys on his key ring? They're just freaking obnoxious. We don't want to be like that dude fumbling forever trying to find the right key. We want one master key, a default that's always dependable and correct. When in doubt, do burpees. We want to be like Pavlov's dog. Shit's pissing us off? Burpees. You're nervous before a presentation? Burpees. You want to drink out of the blue at 3 p.m. or worse, 9 p.m.? Burpees. Of course, workouts and runs are the most optimal if you're in a position to pull them off, but there's no law that says you can't do just one workout per day, is there? In the beginning of my book, I say something kind of weird that I love you, and I need you to know that this information I've got will help you. It might save you from destroying a relationship or prevent you from physically hurting somebody. Viktor Frankl said in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, that our strength lies between the gap between stimulus and our response. Workouts, runs, or just plain burpees can be that gap between whatever shitty stimulus is tearing at you and what you ultimately decide to do about it. If burpees fail to raise your frequency, which they won't, at the very least, they will buy you time so you can make the right decision for how you handle your shit. Now, case in point here for how effective this is, because I love you. I'm trusting you with this information that one of my family members really wants to hurt me at this moment in time. I hope it passes, but it's beyond painful. And they have completely turned on me. And on this very day that I shot this video for this course, they began sending me hateful text messages starting at 5 a.m. during my most treasured, precious time while I'm trying to read and reflect with the greatest minds of human history and possibly hearing God through meditation. Someone is texting me, fuck you, and that I'm a piece of shit. As if that wasn't bad enough, it spilled over into an argument with my wife a little later in the same morning. I'm telling you, misery is truly fucking contagious, and that's why it loves company. So now my wife is calling me an asshole. Have you been there wondering why everything you touch seems to turn to shit? It's like all I did was open my eyes this morning. What the fuck did I do to anybody, right? It's for reasons such as this that the workout absolutely must happen. The workout is working it out. We have our blueprint. We act our way into positive thinking every day. Try thinking your way into positive action when you've been metaphorically kicked in the nuts by not one but two people before you've even put your contact lenses in. Now is most certainly not the time to skip the workout. It would be better to be late for work or to reschedule that first morning meeting if your day starts out like mine did. Anyway, this footage you've already seen was taken by my wife on the very same day, about an hour past all that drama. It was even my wife's idea to take these photos. This was the same woman calling me an asshole an hour before this photo was taken. This is the same guy who was called an asshole, piece of shit, and fuck you for 3 out of the first 4 hours on this particular morning. This stuff works, especially if your partner has buy-in. My wife knows about frequency charts too. We both fuck up and slip up from time to time, and we'll have to remind each other. And you don't want to be like that high school janitor fumbling through his ginormous key ring. We want one master key that works for everything. The fucking workout is working it out. When in doubt, do burpees. Simple succeeds.
Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. This ain't pain I feel, it's bliss. Alright, have it going.
World famous entrepreneur and mentor Dan Locke said something I'll never forget. If you had to have life-saving heart surgery, would you rather it be a 6-hour procedure or take 5 minutes? Or think of it like this. Which YouTube video would you rather learn from? See the 47 quick and easy steps to fend off any attacker, or here's the one move you need to know so you can be invisible for the rest of your life. We can succeed with simple. So when we have backsliding desires, we are not going to call somebody up and ruin their evening while they have to listen to us bitch and moan for hours about having a negative desire to get fucked up. Just both of us know, lowering our frequencies together. Man, fuck that. Do some burpees and imagine building up your chest and getting your back all chiseled up. Don't forget to go for a run if you can. That's optimal. The best part of this is that we're literally running towards our strengths when we encounter adversity like this.
10 miles. You know why? Because I got some stuff to work out. And I'm turning towards my strengths, literally running towards my strengths to work this stuff out. Come on, I'll tell you all about it. We'll figure this thing out. Maybe it'll help you out if you're going through some shit.
Not to say that we don't have some bullshit programming that we need to delete. It's not our fault that we've been conditioned to reach for a drink when the going gets a little rough. On the other hand, what do we do when we celebrate? Break out the champagne, right? Again, this bullshit programming is not our fault. But you're awake now, brother. It is now your responsibility to keep your actions aligned with your desired outcome. And sorry, but you have to override over 150 years of hardcore marketing reinforced by movies and TV. And it's not just drinking. Take Santa Claus, for example, and all the crazy shopping we have to do at Christmas. This is a result of over 100 years of what? Marketing reinforced by movies and TV. The purpose of Christmas is to celebrate the birth of Jesus and be with your family. God sent Jesus to let us know that we could have a personal relationship with him. So we need to change our own programming as individuals. Pay attention to our frequencies and use our new defaults, especially when things are bad. What would that ripped ass motherfucker on your wall do if things got a little rough? Or would Superman put on his Clark Kent outfit and head down to the liquor store? That's your character. Stay in character. Act like this guy until you become him. It's easy to stay on track when there's no adversity. You're going to be tested. The big things like death, breakups, job loss. You know the biggies are unavoidable tests. Also, how you celebrate the wins. Those are easier tests, but they're still tests all the same. The decisions we make throughout the day are like quizzes to me. So sure, you might stumble on a quiz now and then and even fail a test, but that doesn't mean you still can't pass the class. Don't beat yourself up on the occasional slip up. Instead, consciously decide to pass every new test that comes your way and reward yourself all the fucking time for good behavior. A ribeye steak every few evenings is terrific. I live for the daily protein shakes I gobble down after every workout. They're fucking delicious. At Planet Fitness, you can also get a massage chair after your workouts too. My naughty drink once in a blue moon now is a Diet Coke. Play this game. You've got to reward yourself constantly or you'll burn out. Hey, we're all human. Nobody bats 1,000. We all fuck up. I heard it best from Joel Osteen. I believe he just might be the greatest public speaker alive right now. The talk I recall him giving was when someone falls off the wagon. Pastor Joel said that God is driving that wagon, and he's not going to leave without you when you fall off. Just dust yourself off and hop right back on. I hadn't planned for this last bit to be in the course, but it might be a touch from the divine. This morning, my wife shared with me a quote from a book called A Course in Miracles. And I just can't think of a more eloquent way to close out what I've just talked about with you. It goes like this. Only my condemnation injures me. Only my own forgiveness sets me free. Hope that helps. So hey, let's talk nicotine real quick. To quit smoking cigarettes, cigars, and dipping, your best bet is to use nicotine patches, chewing gum, and hard candies. So my go-to was Werther's Originals. They even have the sugarless coffee flavored candies. And it's congruent with how we faded out drinking. Nobody's telling you how much or how little to smoke. Just wear the patch first. Integrate the patch and the chewing gum and hard candies. Don't chew the gum while you smoke, just when you're not smoking. you will smoke less and less, and you'll want to remove the patch at night about an hour before you go to bed. Look, there's no perfect, effortless system for letting go of smoking, but I'd say that this is as good as it gets because this is going on while you're getting ripped, so your odds of success are pretty darn high. If you just get yourself some patches, candies, and gum, it's simple. We succeed with simple. If your patch has a high dose of nicotine and you smoke, it could be pretty damn uncomfortable. So don't throw in the towel if you get squirrely from too much nicotine too quickly. Just keep at it until you figure out what you can operate on. There is a level you can operate on, so don't give up. So the way nicotine patches work is there's 3 levels. You got 21 milligrams, step down to 14 milligrams, and then step down to 7 milligrams. I don't have a 21. These are just left over, right? So there's a level you can operate on. So figure it out. You know, it's kind of like knowing how much salt to put on your food. And you can even take the patches off and put them back on later, or you can even cut them in half. Just stick with it and figure it out. It's worth it. When you finish your box of nicotine patches, you can either get another one or just go ahead and step down to a lower dose, right? And then once you've gone through that box with the lowest dose, it's the same. Either run it back and get another one, or just keep rocking out with candy and gum. You know, it's kind of like taking the training wheels off of your first bike. All right, congratulations on stopping smoking and vaping. But if you're still using nicotine, and I'm talking about those pouches, oh, you thought you'd found a loophole, didn't you? I know you. Keep pushing forward. We all know cocaine is bad, right? Okay, so to me, nicotine is like microdosing cocaine. Nicotine is classified as a poison for a reason. Yes, it acts as a stimulant, and it can help you concentrate. And then when you take it and you get some work done, you feel like you're on top of your game. But that temporary boost comes at a cost, and it constricts your blood vessels. Don't believe me? Load up on dip, snus pouches, take your pick, and then go for a run. It's going to be a miserable experience, just like smoking a cigarette or two would be. What that is vasoconstriction at work. It's the real reason why you get winded as a smoker. Nicotine wreaks havoc on your cardiovascular system just fine without tobacco. Smoking, tobacco, and dipping and chewing, they're just delivery systems for the nicotine. The tobacco does its own kind of damage. It's a fucked up 1-2 punch that you're giving yourself. We don't want vasoconstriction. We do want blood flow. Vasoconstriction is what keeps our little soldier from standing up and saluting. It can also accelerate balding. We want blood flow, and we get blood flow from the workouts and running. Because of knowing nicotine is classified as a poison for a fucking reason, and that reason being vasoconstriction, as an always ripped motherfucker, I decided I wanted to keep my foot on the gas pedal, and so I let go of nicotine pouches too. And so what I did was I flipped my self-talk to actually shame myself whenever I popped one in. Now check this out. I use self-talk to lift myself up all the time. There's just no downside. But then I flipped it. Instead I was like, go ahead and pop in your pussy pouch, little buddy. Does that make you feel better? Yeah, I said that shit over and over again on my last pack of nicotine. Then I was ready to easily let it go. I used the hard candies like Werther's Originals and gum as placebos. I didn't need the patch when I gave up nicotine pouches. In my mind, the pouches were like a continuation of the patches. So, all right, let's integrate some psychology. Our brains can be terrible masters, but terrific servants once we seize control of them. I hope you're experiencing an awakening here. Every time you light up a cigarette, call yourself a little bitch. If you do cave and have a drink, call yourself a little bitch. I got the shaming technique from Wes Watson. We can hypnotize ourselves. We can train our brains with positive affirmations. Sure, I'm a fan. Now look here, from our frequency chart, we know that shame is as low as we ever want to go. Use it. We can change when we're excited, but we can also achieve significant change when we're really pissed off too. Let go of nicotine by using the nicotine patches that help you step down gradually and taking on cardio. There are 3 levels of patches available, and you can even cut them to suit your needs. I personally left nicotine behind by chewing a lot of gum and eating a mix of Werther's coffee-flavored candies and regular ones to be precise, while using the patches, gradually reducing the dosage over time. I also regularly did cardio. I'd encourage you to integrate the stair stepper or the elliptical machine at the very least into your daily splits if you aren't up to running quite yet. If all you can do at this point is walk, then fucking walk if you have to. Move your ass. In my coaching program, I call for at least 1 significant running day out of you. I'm right here with you doing it in the trenches too. My day is Tuesday. I might miss other days, but never Tuesday. Remember this, cardio is nicotine repellent. Use these same steps to let go of smoking and everything nicotine related. Don't forget to remove the patch an hour or 2 before bedtime. And don't forget, chewing gum is your buddy.
Okay.
Whether you smoke a little bit of pot or a lot of bit of meth, it's really all the same. Just get ripped. Say it with me. I'm going to get ripped. I'm an ex-pothead and I just didn't like it anymore. After like 15 years of getting high, it was just a habit that was really getting me low, and I really missed my personality. I missed being me. I mean, meth, I was lucky enough to never run into it. Otherwise, I probably would have tried it. But in the end, whether it's pot, meth, heroin, you name it, what we're doing here is we're trading up when we decide to get ripped. Former meth heads can get just as ripped as former potheads. Our focus and attention now is on getting ripped. Have that picture on the wall. Our brains like that shit because the course is charted. Yeah, we eat clean, we train hard, we sleep well. We stack on more of the good and shedding the bad things like a snake sheds its skin. Just steady as she goes. Slow and steady wins the race. And if we fuck up, we're not going to be a bunch of pussies and throw in the towel and give up the whole idea. You know, in our house, we try really fucking hard to recycle, and it's a pain in the ass, and it really pisses me off to hear that, let's say, a startling low percentage of recyclable materials actually gets recycled. And whether it's loads that get contaminated when the wrong plastics are mixed up, or stuff just gets chucked in the landfill with the rest of conventional trash, well, sure, that really does suck. But does that mean the entire concept of recycling is not sound? When a baby falls while attempting to walk, should he just give that shit up? Of course not. And we know in our hearts and all of our being that though our action may be imperfect, it's most certainly correct action. Remember that imperfect action always trumps perfect meditation. We don't want to be the intellectual who sits there with analysis paralysis. At the end of the day, he weighed all the options and the pros and the cons, and he just wound up playing video games on his couch. What that is procrastination taking away the life he should be living. So if you haven't read my book, Always Ripped, The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a New Man After 40 yet, go ahead and read it, and you'll see why this course here, along with the book, are perfect companions. For example, we'll cover what it'll be like hitting the gym for the first time since high school, if that's your case, along with best practices so you can slip right in seamlessly and get going. I even tell you what to wear. Read that shit. Don't be that guy showing up in pajama pants or jeans, please. All right, let's regroup. We have that picture of that stud with your head on top attached in a place where you can see it every single day, right? You're growing into that guy. You do what that guy would do. You've got the guideline on how we begin each and every day that sets you up for success. Early wake up, reading and reflection with the great minds of our human race, meditation, clearing your mind. It'll be like defragmenting your computer. When you stick to meditation, you're just going to operate better as you feel time allowing you a certain amount of latitude between stimulus and your response. In other words, you'll make better decisions. We've got the workouts, which change every day. We won't get bored or plateau. We're going to mix in some running. We want blood flow everywhere. We've got our frequency chart printed out too, and we always strive to operate at the highest frequency so you can attract the best people and things right to you. Your frequency is what you frequently see. We're eating a ketogenic diet because guess what? You can't out-train a bad diet. I got that one from Brandon Carter. By eating clean, we are compounding the effects of those workouts and all that running. Think of it like this. Let's say you just went to a regular workout, no running, and you burned a bunch of calories, say somewhere between 500 and 700 calories. Just go to McDonald's. Just look at that menu. They have the calories listed right beside the options. You could offset all that hard work and be right back in the red quicker than a cat can lick its ass. No, when you eat to accompany the workout, to compound the workout. The protein shake, eggs, chicken, salmon, salad, bone broth, that good shit. We sleep well now. By prioritizing our sleep, we aren't just sleeping like we've always done. We are achieving rest. With rest comes rejuvenation along with our best chances for regeneration. That's autophagy, which I get into deeper in the Ultimate Guide.
What?
Oh, they're horrible. If you see us around, just know that my dogs are horrible, okay? That right there is a t-shirt for my first official marathon coming up, age 49. I want this so fucking bad for you too.
So glad I did it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna finish as strong as I possibly can.
There you go, Scott. You worked hard. Enjoy your moment. Crossing the finish line.
I can't believe it. Oh, thank you. You could have gone like that. Oh my gosh. It feels wonderful. Highly recommend it. Oh my god. I don't know what I'm feeling.
Look, it's all laid out. You just need to find your guy and get up early tomorrow morning. Some things you might be saying to yourself right now is, so this is it? Yes, simple succeeds because simple is doable. Don't mistake simple for easy. Don't do that. Now, as things progress, you might think to yourself, hey, these runs are getting a little easier and this weight isn't so heavy anymore. It's not so much that the running and the weights are getting easier or lighter, it's that you're becoming stronger. And the more you do, the stronger you get. The less you do, the weaker you get. Simple. The human body is predictable. You gotta love this shit, knowing that every rep you do counts towards something. You might be wondering just how in the world you're going to integrate these things into your life. You're just so busy, etc., etc. Look, I'm not making light of your familiar and professional responsibilities, but my answer to all that is it hinges on your capability of getting up early. That is step one. All the other pieces will fit together after you master getting up early. That simply must come first. Well, sleeping well kind of comes first now that you think about it. See how this stuff flows together and works? Oh, and you'll get a good night's rest if you got a good workout in during your day and you didn't eat and drink so late into the night. The wheel keeps turning, you know? So look, you got this and I got you if you need it. I have a coaching program where we can work together and be part of a community of like-minded men on the same path. We could have a relationship. If you watched the series and read the book, then I'd say we'd be a pretty good fit. My app is pretty awesome too, and it can guide your workouts and stuff you eat, and I can monitor your progress and keep up with you personally as well. We have Zoom meetings and one-on-one office hours, and of course we can communicate within the community. So look, brother, you are not a pioneer in uncharted territory. People have come before you. What we're doing here is simple with a moderate degree of difficulty, and it gets easier over time because you're getting stronger. Landing a rocket exactly where it took off is complicated and extremely difficult, and it never gets easier. Neither is putting a man on the moon and bringing him back in one piece, let alone keeping the rocket intact. That's the rocket science everybody's been talking about, right? Well, this ain't that. And by the way, don't be concerned for a second about peer pressure. The time I let go of smoking pot, for example, my buddies gave me some shit for about 30 seconds. I told them it hadn't been making me feel good and I've been getting headaches. And after that, it wasn't long before they were passing the joint right past me. They stopped even offering altogether. And most of the dudes I was smoking with, I just don't even see them anymore. It's not like we had a falling out or anything. It's just sort of reasons and seasons, you know. But guess what? Some of them are still lifelong friends, and they wound up giving that shit up too. But with alcohol, peer pressure is an after-school special myth. In fact, you'll become an instant asset. I recently found myself being the newer guy on a golf trip with some dudes that I'd really like to take more golf trips with. No one had to worry when our round was over about DUIs or Ubers. Sky T, take the keys, bro. The guy from the last year's trip, whose spot I filled this year, got drunk as a skunk and almost got the whole crew kicked out of a restaurant. Look, people want assets in their groups, not liabilities. You know, if anyone asks, you can just tell them that you're getting into shape by letting go of alcohol and you're trying to drop the most weight in the shortest amount of time, which is true. Or how about, I'm training for a marathon, which is true. Trust me, nobody that you want to associate with will say jack shit to any one of these things. In fact, you're saying no in the coolest way possible while inspiring those around you at the same time. Nobody likes a self-righteous prick. I was just doing what was working for me, and it turns out it rubbed off on a few other people close to me. This stuff is also contagious. Not just misery has a monopoly on that. I didn't even put any pressure on my wife either. And besides, when she does have a little bit to drink, I kind of always hope it'll make her frisky. Hey, let's talk about the hard stuff for a minute. When Keith Richards let go of using heroin, he said that his new high was telling all of his dealers no. Keith said that quitting heroin was one of the hardest things he ever did. He did it cold turkey in 1978 after getting hit with massive drug charges that could have put him away anywhere from 7 years to life. Shit!
She's been the Rolling Stone most often in trouble, almost always for drugs. For 10 years, he seemed to be in and out of court. In Canada, it was even more serious. He was arrested in Toronto and charged with trafficking in heroin. In the event, he was given a suspended sentence, told to continue his treatment to cure heroin addiction, and ordered to perform a concert for the blind.
He wriggled out of the drug charges and he dropped heroin. Now, we all know that Keith is Keith and he's no shining example of being always ripped or being free of vices. But when he's done with something, he's done with something. And music has always been his focus. Substances were the distractions. Back in '77, he could have been totally derailed. He gave up coke in 2006. He gave up cigarettes in 2019. So he's basically been tapering off for the past 48 years or so. Better late than never, I guess. Look, we all love Keith and the Stones, but he is a unicorn. He is the exception and not the fucking rule. He's like your buddy's Paw who started smoking Lucky Strikes when he was 12 and lived to be 99.
He's not like every one of us. He's different. He's Keith.
Me personally, I can't speak to stuff like heroin and meth firsthand, but I don't want to sidestep it either. So this is me doing my best to address it and not bullshitting you about, what you might be going through. What I do know is that both meth and heroin cause these colossal spikes in dopamine, which you may recall is the D in dose from our good reward chemicals from when we work out, right? That's the euphoria that everybody who uses the stuff talks about. But meth and heroin fuck with your dopamine so hard it jeopardizes your brain's ability to manufacture it for you naturally. If you keep it up long enough, you'll never feel pleasure from everyday life ever again. This is serious fucking business. Before we get into strategy or the tactical, you'd better pick out your guy. Slap your head on top of his body and stick that picture up on the wall. There's nothing that's changed there. In fact, you need that motherfucker now more than ever. Your options for letting go of stuff like meth and heroin are similar, and they appear to be 1, cold turkey, or 2, stepping down with medication. In both circumstances, you're going to need a strategy and some help. So strategize, set yourself up for success. You will actually have to outsmart your future self. If you drink enough, you may be in this camp as well, and your body could go through some shit when it's cut off from alcohol that could actually be worse than going through withdrawal from heroin or even meth. Or maybe you can do it as an outpatient through clinics. When I studied on guys from 2 camps, all I did was go to YouTube and type in stuff like how to quit heroin and how to quit meth. This guy Derek Lambert is in the cold turkey camp. He has videos of himself withdrawing from both heroin and meth. He set himself up somewhere and actually documented his entire withdrawal processes. You can actually see this and hear from guys who came out on the other end of what you're getting ready to do. This is amazing. What they've done, man, putting themselves out there like this is braver than shit, and I applaud them. It's a gift from God that you can learn from these guys, so go do it. Derek came through all that adversity and he looks freaking terrific now. And I found these guys whose YouTube channel is called Project Unbroken, who are in the medically assisted step-down process camp. And look at these guys. They most definitely qualify for the Always Ripped Club. So put on your thinking cap, strategize. You're going to need to choose your path, cold turkey or medically assisted step-down processes, using drugs that curb cravings and reduce pain and so forth. Here's a guy telling you what you'll need in advance of withdrawing from meth right here, down to what to eat and drink. I see that exercise is on the list. Must be something to that. And it's going to take time for the brain to actually physically regenerate back to normal for long-time users. When dopamine high is just so fucking off the charts for so long, normal is going to seem pretty low, and that's when folks get depressed. And I've actually spoken with a former meth addict, and he told me the part about his brain needing some time to physically undergo repair and rejuvenation firsthand. Repair and rejuvenation. Well, that right there falls under our sleep well pillar, I do believe. I met this particular guy at a CrossFit event, actually, and homeboy turned his life around 180 degrees. He's ripped as hell now, got a wife and a kid, and he's successful. And he helps others leave meth behind as well. He's the epitome of our life's purpose, healing yourself and teaching others to do the same. Brian Welch, a.k.a. Head from Korn, meth was his big thing. Now, it took him several attempts to let it go, but in the end, he got it licked. I said before, you're going to need some help. Well, Head got God's help. He went to see the manager of all managers. You know what I'm saying? He's not hard to find on YouTube talking about it in his multiple attempts. Falling off the wagon with meth is the same as falling off the wagon with booze or anything. God's still driving that wagon. He's not going to run off and leave you. Just forgive yourself and get back on. Look, you're special, but you're not so special.
My meaning here is that others have come before you. I know it's hard, but great news though, you don't have to reinvent the fucking wheel. Follow someone else's recipe and you'll get what they got. The fact that you're not a pioneer gives you a leg up and it's already been figured out. Folks all over the internet are showing you the way. All you need to do first is decide to get ripped and print out that picture and stick it on your wall. Look at what these guys did to get off whatever type of shit that you're on and implement the plan that resonates with you the most. If it gets super hard, redirect and adjust the plan, but do not abort. And if you fail a test, well, tomorrow's a new day. But do what they did and let go of that shit. Do what your guy did to get the body. You need to become this new man now. Now more than fucking ever, man. The content for giving up these devil drugs is out there. You'll find that consistent physical activity is going to be something you see over and over again as their new addiction in most of their success stories. Let's take control of our addictive personalities and flip that trait into our superpowers. We're choosing our addiction, choosing to get ripped first. Then more and more doors will open that you never knew existed. Make getting ripped your new addiction. There's nothing but upside. Focus on becoming the man that you see posted on your wall and chew a fuck ton of gum. Always keep your frequency chart at hand or at least on your mind. It's simple, and simple succeeds. With every substance that doesn't serve you, at some point with this program, you will have used that substance for the last time, whether it's Mountain Dew or meth. By the way, I know a lady who lost 100 pounds just by dropping soda. She did nothing else. Swear. When you've had that last drink or smoke or whatever, please don't memorialize it either and save the date like so many people do. The object is to forget about it. Let go of that old shit. Every time somebody brings up the date of their last drink or whatever, they're just breathing new life into something that should be dead and buried. You're a new man now. We don't even know that other guy.
All right, look, I've beat this drum long enough. You're going to have good days and some bad days. And as time passes and you look more and more like that man in your picture, you might want to zoom out and take notice that we're having more and more good days now. And as you look more and more like that man in your picture, what's actually happening here? Your actions are aligning with your desired outcome to be that man in your picture. We know that we attract what we are, not what we want. You have more of a handle of your circle of control now. Your circle of influence is growing now. You have the clarity to know where to put first things first. Your old circle of concern is no longer distracting you now. Let the Middle East fix the Middle East. You realize where to apply your attention to things that you can actually control, grow, and improve. Now you know that wherever you put your attention, that thing will grow. And if you withdraw your attention, that thing will die. Whether it's a hobby or a habit or relationship, doesn't matter. This is not woo stuff. It's actually quantum mechanics. It's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, and it has numbers and stuff attached to it. And the guy won a Nobel Prize for it. We know that our frequency is what we frequently see. Life is a mirror, not a window. And we know that as humans, our greatest superpower is that we can choose to change our minds. We can observe ourselves and decide if we want to change our state and elevate out of our frequency, or just keep sitting in the same old pile of shit. We can do this even in the heat of a horrible moment because we've taken charge of our brains. We can do that shit now. We know how to set up our day for success every single day by acting our way into positive thinking with our simple blueprint. First thing in the morning, wake up early, reading and reflection, high-quality philosophy or nonfiction from the great minds. Meditation. If talking to God is prayer, what's listening to God? I say it's meditation. Then the running or the workouts. We're not spinning our wheels on how to work out or what are we going to be doing today. We have a muscle group set up for every single day because we've set ourselves up for a system of splits. Today is Thursday, therefore it's leg day. It's advanced designation. It's already set up. No need to think about it. Thinking can lead to procrastination. Procrastination is putting off the life that you should be living. We don't want that. We eat clean with our ketogenic diet now, if you're medically cleared to do so. Of course, I have to make a disclaimer. Our food is medicine. We enjoy it. We geek out and we know what to eat and when to eat it. We're keeping an eye on calories and protein. Nothing complicated because we just eat stuff our great-grandmothers would recognize. We sleep well now. We know that sleeping is super important as it rejuvenates and regenerates us. Just as we can set our days up for success, we can set ourselves up for successful sleep now by addressing things like snoring. We're drinking herbal teas and reading a super cool fiction book in the evenings to wind ourselves down. We know how to use the placebo effect on ourselves now. We reward ourselves often. We've got tasty non-alcoholic beer or herbal tea to cap off our days now. You've got this because it's simple. Decide to get ripped. If you haven't said it yet with me, you've got one more chance to say it out loud and change your life. I'm getting ripped. Come on and say it. Nothing but upside here. I'm getting ripped. Focus now and get ripped. Remember, it's simple. Eat clean, train hard, and sleep well. You've got this. If you need some help, holler.